Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I've learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. And it is 7:07, and I have my literature group meeting here at 8 o'clock. So I'm going to make a really quick Peterisms today, but I wanted to get on here and read a meditation or two. I just felt very inspired today. I had a hard time getting started today. Do you ever have days like that? Like, I got up and I just kind of like lazed around. I came downstairs and took the dogs out, and then I went back upstairs and I laid in bed with the dogs for a little while, did my prayers and meditations and gratitude list, and then I laid in bed with the dogs for a little while. I mean, I just had such a hard time getting started today. And then finally I was just like, okay, do you ever do this? Like where you're like, okay, 1, 2, 3, go. And then you have to like force yourself to go. Alex always laughs because I'll like sit in a chair forever and just watch, TV with him or whatever. And I'll be like, I need to do this and I'll need to do that. And he'll be like, well, babe, just go do it. You don't have to sit here with me. And I'm like, I know, but I don't want to. And then I'll just go 1, 2, 3. And I go. He always laughs about that. So I brought the 2 Melody Beatty books today. I haven't looked at them. I haven't even opened them. So I don't know what they have to say to us. Let's see what the language of letting go says. Okay, I don't know what this one's about. This is long, actually, so let's read it. Into orbit, June 7th. It doesn't matter if they're hurting themselves. It doesn't matter that we could help them if they'd only listen to and cooperate with us. It doesn't matter, doesn't matter, doesn't matter, doesn't matter. Codependent no more. I think I can change him. Nobody's ever really loved him and appreciated him before. I'll be the one to do that, and then he'll change. She's never been with anybody trustworthy before. I'll prove how trustworthy I am, and then she'll be able to love. Nobody's been able to get to her, to conquer her before. I'll be the one to do that. Nobody's ever really given him a chance. Nobody's ever really believed in him before. These are warning signs, red lights, red flags. In fact, if we're thinking these thoughts, they need to be stop signs. I'm laughing because I have been this in relationships before, and that comes as a direct result of growing up as a child of an alcoholic and then carrying that into being an adult child of an alcoholic, where I have very codependent behaviors, and I have in past relationships where I thought, like, okay, this, and this, and this, instead of just accepting somebody where they're at, But this is more about addiction. These are warning signs, red lights, red flags. In fact, if we're thinking these thoughts, they need to be stop signs. If we have gotten hooked into believing that somehow we will be the one who will make the difference in someone's life, if we are trying to prove how good we can be for someone, we may be in trouble. This is a game, a deception. It won't work. It'll make us crazy. We can trust that. We're not seeing things clearly. Something's going on with us. It will be self-defeating. We may be the one, all right, the one to wind up victimized. The whole thought pattern reeks of codependency, of not being responsible for oneself, and of victimization. Each person needs to do his or her own work. Nobody in the past has really understood him. Nobody has seen what I see in her. It's a setup. It sets us up to stop paying attention to ourselves while we focus too much on the other person. Yep. It takes us away from our path and often puts us in orbit. Nobody has appreciated him enough. Nobody has been good enough to her or done for her what I can do. It's a rescue. It's a game move, a game we don't have to play. We don't have to prove we're the one. If we're out here to show people we're the best thing that ever happened to them, it may be time to see if they're the best thing that ever happened to us. We have not been appointed as guardian angel, godmother, godfather, or the one who will. The help, support, and encouragement that truly benefits others and ourselves emerges naturally. Let it. God, help me let go of my need to meet dysfunctional challenges in my relationships. This is such a fantastic meditation because I feel like so many of us have been affected by this, not just in romantic relationships. This can be in work relationships. I've had dysfunctional situations in work relationships. Or this can be with friends. Or I think hardest of them all, family members, mothers, fathers, grandparents, sisters, brothers, siblings. I think even children, I think this is the hardest thing of them all. When we think that love is enough, okay? Well, I've said this before and I'll say it again. If love were enough, there would be no need for treatment programs. There would be no need for 12-step programs. There would be no need for self-help books, motivational books, inspirational books. There would be no need for that, okay? Because love would be enough. And if you love somebody enough, then they would change for you, wouldn't they? And here's the thing, that I do not believe when we say that, I love this person so much, I don't know why they're doing this to me. We do love that person. We love them with all of our heart. I really do. But that's where we have to realize love is not enough, okay? And then when they don't reciprocate that and we wonder, why aren't they stopping using? Why aren't they stopping this behavior that is hurting me? Why aren't they doing that, okay? Because it's not because love is not enough, or that you're not the right person, or you're not the one that's gonna make them change, or you're not the one that's gonna make them feel complete. It's because that's their work to do. And your work to do is to take care of yourself and be the best version of yourself that you can be, so that you attract positive energy and you attract positive people in your life, okay? It's like when we always say we came into a relationship with baggage. I mean, I think everybody says that to some degree, right? Well, wouldn't it be amazing to go into a relationship with no baggage? We have to do that work on ourselves. It's why when I tell people, you know, like I have friends of mine all the time that will call me up and they'll say, you know, my boyfriend or my husband, you know, has like a serious drinking problem. Like, what do I need to do? And I'm like, well, I'm more than willing to take, you know, him to a meeting if he wants to go, and, you know, or this, or I'm more than willing to introduce him to some people, or if they need to go to treatment, here are some options, you know. But then I always say, but you need to go to Al-Anon. And Al-Anon is a 12-step program for friends and family members of alcoholics and addicts. But why do I need to go? And I'm like, because you need to go to work on yourself. Well, I'm not the alcoholic. And I'm like, right, but see, you have certain behaviors and tendencies and ways that you act that probably came long before you even got into this relationship that you don't even know. Plus, there are a lot of people in Al-Anon that have been going to Al-Anon for 30 and 40 years that go because their parents were alcoholics. But their behaviors as being children of alcoholics, and there's even a group called Adult Children of Alcoholics, but even those people that are like, have been long gone from that, they still act out in certain ways because we act out in ways of having grown up in those environments of chaos, right? But love is not enough. And you know, this paragraph up here where it says, I think I can change him, okay? But what happens when you realize that you can't change him? Is then the mantra go to, he won't change, so I must not be enough, or he won't change, therefore he doesn't love me enough, and then it becomes a victim role, right? Nobody's ever really loved him and appreciated him before, okay? So then when you do, does that turn into, you know, this thing where you say to that person, I love you, I have done everything for you, and you won't change for me, therefore, this is what it's talking about. We turn ourselves into the victims, right? It goes on to say, I'll be the one to do that, and then he'll change. What if he doesn't? Okay? Then do you talk about how hard you've worked? I've worked so hard for this relationship. I've done everything for this relationship. I've done everything for you, and what have I gotten in return? But that's not how relationships work, you know? She's never been with anybody trustworthy before. So you show her that you're trustworthy, and she goes out and cheats on you, you know? And no, that's not right, and it's not fair, okay? How dare you do that to me? I was the first trustworthy person that you were with, and you walked all over me. Do you see how we set ourselves up for turning ourselves into being victims? And then who's the one that pays in the long run? We are. I've done that many, many times, you know? I've got into situations, you know, my friends will say to me in the past, you know, you had a bad picker. And I mean, I've had some fantastic boyfriends too. You know, I'm not just talking about the last two that I had. I'm talking about way before that when I dated people for a month here or whatever. You know, but my last two boyfriends, there was a lot of greatness in those relationships. There was a lot of magic, you know, it just didn't work out in the end. But, you know, the thing is that I've been in those relationships where people would say to me, like, you have a bad picker, man. You know, like, you pick the wrong ones. Or they'd say, you pick a lot of strays. You know, you pick people and then you think that you can, like, fix them up and, you know, that they're going to be the best version of themselves they would be because you want that for people. But sometimes people don't want that for themselves. You know, sometimes people aren't there yet, which is a big part where today I meet people where they're at because I realize that not everybody wants to change when you want them to change, you know? And I think a healthy attitude to take going forward is, I'm going to focus on me. I'm going to focus on me, and I'm also going to focus on realizing that I deserve the best that there is out there, you know, and telling yourself that. And, you know, I will say this, if you're in a relationship where this is you, and you're trying to fix the other person, and these thoughts of what I just read have gone through your mind, if you're somebody that's going to write in the comment section or felt like you could but don't feel safe to do that and on YouTube, that this is you and you needed to hear this today, please go find somebody to talk to and start focusing on yourself. You've only got one life, you know? Make it the best that you could possibly have. That doesn't mean that you have to leave that person. That doesn't mean that you have to not be in a relationship with that person. That means that maybe you can learn to set some healthy boundaries. Maybe you can learn to look at the relationship with a different perspective. You know, maybe you can work on yourself and the relationship will change, you know? You don't know. And sometimes what we don't realize is that we're also the sick person in the relationship, you know, and that we also need a lot of work. That we think that we're healthier than we are because we have so much to give. And then it falls into that whole martyr syndrome, you know? People don't love victims and martyrs. You know, people love people that are humble and and that are proud of themselves and that love themselves enough to know to set boundaries and limits, you know, with unhealthy people. I think this is a great meditation and a good reminder. So let me know what you think about that in the comment section below. I love you guys. I hope you are having an amazing Monday evening and a magically amazing beginning to your week. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.